Welcome to Face to Face. This is a show about change and about what's next. It's a show that wants to ask questions, peel back the layers of our average everyday experience, and go beyond scratching the surface. We interview amazing people with incredible ideas and stories who have done wild, weird, and wonderful things. Remember that imagination shared create collaboration, and collaboration creates community, and community inspires social change. I'm David Peck, and this is Face to Face. So I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited to be down at the Toronto International Film Festival. Every year I try to catch a couple of movies here and there, and this year for the first time I've actually contacted a few publicists, a few filmmakers to see if I could pick up some interviews, and I did, two actually in particular, maybe three coming up in the next couple of days. But Silvered Water is one film that you're going to hear about now. I've got two of the filmmakers, Simav and Ossama. You're going to get to know them. This is probably one of the most intimate and poetic and deeply personal films I've seen, and yet on a whole other level, it's incredibly touching and deeply disturbing. Some of the most horrific images I think I've ever seen. It's about Syria, it's about the political issues there, and about what's going on, and how the world might not be listening quite as carefully as they need to. So check it out. You're going to hear some, weird sound levels. You'll have to forgive me. I was kind of on the run. You'll hear Rose, the publicist, who I really want to thank for putting this together for me. She's in the background. She kind of interrupted us because there was a lineup of people to get in. I just felt so privileged to be a part of this, and I hope you enjoy it. And for more information about the podcast and my new book called Real Change, check out my website, davidpecklive.com, and we'll see you soon. So welcome to Face to Face. We are here at the Toronto International Film Festival with Simav and Ossama, and part of the reason I'm calling them by their first name is because I feel like I've gotten to know them after watching their film that was co-directed called Silvered Water just this morning. And also part of the reason is I'm embarrassed to say I can't pronounce their last names very well. So on that sort of fun note, let's get right into it. But I just turned the recorder on and said that, just before I turned the recorder on, I said, let's get to know each other a little bit, and then we got right into it. So we've clicked on. So welcome to Face to Face. We're here. We're live. Thank you both for joining me today.
So you see, I am closing my eyes. It's a language. It means welcome. Nice to start with the kind of, for us, a compliment. You've just said about the film that it seems that no one did this before. I like this start, not because it's a compliment, because it is a real question you have to put in front of yourself when you start to make film about your homeland, your Syria, which is our Syria. I mean, means you and us. It's a country gave a lot for humanity, for civilization. It's a country where first alphabet was found, and where the first note you could hear in the film, the first musical note was found in Syria. So talking about Syria 2011, it's a responsibility, it's a challenge, and responsibility, it's a very big word. Artistic responsibility. And how you can talk about this moment, the permanent moment of emergency, which is now 3 years, one moment, growing and growing and growing, from celebration, from amazing carnival of freedom to the extraordinary permanent ceremonies of death, of funeral, of paying life after life after life for the idea of freedom, for this great world which the humanity created with our alphabet or with any alphabet. How you can make a work about this, a permanent moment, growing, developing from celebration to tragedy, from tragedy to big tragedy, from the moment, the key moment that everybody was filming from the first day. You know, each question here open multi question sides why they were filming. Just feeling that it's the greatest moment in the history.
I found, watching the film, I've always been very sort of confused about that part of the world. And I don't mean it in a dismissive way. I mean it as a very hard to understand relationally who's who. And I actually found I was tossed right into the confusion of it in the film. And I think partially the style of the filmmaking and the juxtaposition of the images and the music, by the way, is just absolutely brilliant and haunting. I think this film is going to stay with me for a long, long time. But I felt very intimately connected as well, in a relational way that I was not expecting at all. And I almost felt like a voyeur, like I was looking into your lives. And the intimacy that the two of you developed, to me, I don't know, maybe I'm overstating it, but I was kind of astounded by it, and also horrified by the images. And so that, by the way, I wish you'd light that cigar you got there.
I will tell two things, and I will let you pass to the great girl beside me. It's a classical point, very deep classical. When you are building personage in cinema, in fiction or in documentary or in literature, if you want to reach the other, to make a real dialogue with the other, to connect the other, to join with him as two human beings, as a brother of humanity, you have to be honest, brave, and to confess. That's what we did in the film, and that's why you feel that you are in, because we were really wanted to tell this truth. As every human being inside the film were believing that it is the moment of life, but it could be the last moment of life. So last thing, here, very important to back to your very, I really like how you started. What does it mean form in cinema? What does it mean content? And how you can tell all this big moment, full and rich, following the stereotypes or even the very good form done in cinema. It could be stupid. You will be not honest. So you have to start your research, or very hard research, to find the forma. And the forma, I feel now that it belongs to Syria. The artistic unity, what those 1,000 co-authors,
right,
me and her, were just feeling at the same time and trying to express. So that is the cinema. That is the great force of cinema. Just you have to believe in it. And you have to respect the classical foundation, the images.
So you're labeled as co-director on this, but did you feel your role was more as editor almost, because you were bringing all these images from? So just for our listeners, I think the opening is made by 1,001 filmmakers plus me. So you were looking at YouTube and different places for footage that most of us would never ever see.
Yeah. It's one more. It's a good question. Why? Because I admire cinema. I like cinema. I believe that it's non-limit force and non-limit alphabet. And so, editor, what does it mean, editor? It's very interesting to open a big discussion about it. What does it mean, editor? Editor is a writer. It's very simple. And a writer just is it a technical writer or imaginary writer?
Sure.
So yes, I was editor. I was the editor. I was the point of imagination, where all the imaginary of all those people was joined in my imagination, and I was trying to release the freedom of this imagination. So it's a big question, you know, when you have a thousand of images. It's 12 months work, including weekend, because you have to, when you say editing, you have just to answer a lot of questions. What you take, what you don't take, how to choose the best shot of dead people. You know, it's funny and it's absurd. A best shot of a dead people in street. And is it violence? Is it hard? Or it's beautiful? You have to find the point here, because saving a dead body from being alone, isolated in the street, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you comment on the beauty of it, because I felt like there was a compelling poetry, not just in the narration and the music, but also in the images and the choice. And here were most of these images taken on cell phones. This wasn't beautiful photography with lots of lighting taking into consideration. It was the way it was constructed and pieced together. Simav, so I mentioned that comment before we started recording about Alain René's film Night and Fog, and within seconds of starting the film, I was taken back to a film class 27 years ago, and watching this film and the juxtaposition of the images and the music and the narration, Ossama's voice, even your voice, the tone, it just, I'm getting a shiver. It just so pulled me in. And your voice, the paradox between them and the beauty of it. I'm just. Yeah, so it sounds like I'm overstating, but I was really struck with the intimacy of such what I would call a violent, almost violent film, an angry film on some levels. And yet you know what's crazy? I want to do something. Like you have I want to go. You know, like I because that's been part of my life, is how do you as a philosopher, how do you go from a theory to actually making contact with reality and getting people to act? And so that's why I've started to work overseas and internationally and so on. I get to unpack that. But as a filmmaker, it must be pretty frustrating. So you put the images out there, but it doesn't actually do any, do people get involved? So I've got a lot of questions for you, but I think, did you have that in mind, that this relationship would potentially develop? Or was it, I'm going to contact this guy because he's a great filmmaker, he's an advocate and an activist? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
From the beginning, at the last and until now, I want to take videos and films and catch everything there.
And you mentioned that in the film, right? You want to catch everything.
Only by my heart, not by my eye only. So I want to save it in a heart, not in a mind only. I want to make it a bombs, not a films only, because I see the story of Syria is maybe as a Odessa or Iliada of Greek. I see it like it, not less. By everything, by everything, although by the ways of this, by the fight to be alive, even if in memories of others. Really, Syrian people now very, very, very friendly with the death. They are saw a death as a one of their families. It's the big secret for our external, I think, power of revelation up now.
So, I think your film is, and your story, the stories that you've told through this film are, I think, I hope, a plea to others, a cry to others to say, you need to listen. Yeah. You know, you need to listen a little more below just the surface. You need to dig deeper and actually find out what's going on. Do you think the world is listening right now to what's going on in Syria? I mean, we certainly hear about it a lot. It's in the papers, it's on the news. But are we really listening?
Yeah, in Syria, from a long time, and I think it's in everywhere, there is a sentences say walls have ears. So if the walls have ears, the words and the people in words have more than ears. World is two parts. Every world, people, normal people, and governments. I don't care to the government's opinion not by their personal opinion, to the political opinions. I care for the human inside everyone and everywhere. Even if who not agree with my opinion. So they are here, they are suffered, but maybe their hands is very short.
Why do you care? Why do you care? So I wonder, you know, somebody once said of a poet, the famous poet Wordsworth, how come you write poetry, Mr. Wordsworth? And he said, how come you don't write poetry? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Isn't that
Very beautiful.
So you do care, but there's lots that don't. I guess that's what I'm trying to, you know.
I care for 2 or 3 human sensation, a real sensation in this world, in this earth, to be a hand arrive to a children of Syria. I believe that we must talk to the souls and care with the souls who care to our children. I look to the future.
To the future, sure.
Not to this moment only. So I care and care and care more than anybody believe. Yeah.
For you to, I mean, that must have played into your decision to stay where you stayed, and I mean, the images that you've captured, I watched it and
Under the
thought,
stage.
this has got to be digital photography. This is absurd. Is this really where you're living? You know?
Yeah. Everything. I had it by my camera, by my hand. I refuse any helping from anybody to catch my camera and take a photo or video. I refuse that until the last moment on my life. If I can walk, I will take my videos and photos by my hand and my eyes, my heart.
It won't be a handgun they pull out of your hands. It'll be your video camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Ossama, you said something about for you. You talked about carrying images and about the young teenager who's being tortured at the beginning of the film, and you say you saw yourself in him.
Yeah.
And then your direct quote is, "I kissed the boot with him," of his oppressor or his torturer, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah. So I kissed the boot with him.
Yeah.
And that is hard to watch, that footage, even though it's hard to even bring it into focus because it's pixelated and it's difficult to see, which makes it even almost more challenging in a way emotionally.
Sure.
How do you think you got to that place? Why are you kissing the boot? So, why Simav cares? I guess I'm trying to get to that seed in you.
Yes, you talking about footages. That is, the question you have to ask myself. It's up to your way, to your culture, inside culture, to question yourself. In this moment, what does it mean, this pixel? Should I go to the standard way of analyzing photo? I could be very stupid. I don't forgive myself. You have to, to be in with your feeling, with the culture of feelings of human being senses. And I saw that the pixel tells a lot. And it is the cinema. It doesn't tell it directly, but you see, we are sitting together first time in the life, and we are discussing this. You mentioned this, as you mentioned the sentences and this. That's great that we are meeting with you. I mean what I say. It's great that we have this film and we are talking with you. I feel that we did work when you start to smell the film like this. Right. Then talking about the sentences, yes, I'm backing to cinema, to the root of cinema, not rule.
Right.
There's no rules in cinema.
Well, that's another thing that's so wonderful about this film is it's experimental in a way. Like you've broken a lot of rules here, which is awesome, amazing.
No. It's who can tell you the rules. I think following the our great fathers of cinema, they were doing the same. They were just feeling that it is the moment you have to tell your truth, the other, not to tell you your truth. Who are you? Who am I? Yeah, that is the way. I think it's very interesting to look to the film the way you started with. Is it fiction? Is it documentary? Is it what? Talking about these sentences, we are discussing here the way I was building the personage who is begin with the word me, thousand and me. So building this personage, me, it was the process. It was the story, the level of narrative, what was happening with me watching this. Then the second level, what was disturbing my existence and asking me, am I a real human being cashing after profession behind? So yes, I feel that was the moment when we have to be really free and to tell. I feel that it's me. I was horribly touched by it. I feel that it's aggression against me personally, myself, because of the two reasons. The human one and the images. Those people are filming and I'm a filmmaker, So I was feeling that somebody is knocking my door. My heart every time asking me, where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
The images were asking questions of you.
Sure. And it was, the way I build the narrative, the way I build the images, the way I trust that it's a story of the development of quality from pixel to the amazing sequence she made with Omar. It is Syria. It is the culture. We are the sons of alphabet and first note of music. The music, great music and songs by Noma Umran. She was also co-author on the film. She was not commenting on the film. So it is the moment of the rich research in cinema. When I met with Simav, everything became more beautiful and more easy because she told me that yes, I am one of those unknown people, but look at me. Here, to be a real cinematographer, a real human being, when you read her first two lines and you see image, if you are brave, if you believe in cinema, you have to recognize that yes, it's a new generation, and look the level of writing, look the level of filming. Yes, you have to name the film Silvered Water, which is Simav in Kurdish. She is the film, she is Syria, she is the defensor of human rights, of beauty. She was creating beauty, resisting the destruction. So it is the universal story. It is the great
the universal story is a great way to put it. Can I ask one more question?
One more question that you-
Yeah,
I'm
so,
sorry.
about
No, he's a great friend.
Yes, but the one outside is also a great friend.
Also a
and I
great
don't want
friend.
to-
Sure.
Okay, yes.
So can you just talk a little bit about Omar and the fact that he's even, I mean, talk about juxtaposition and absurdity, the child holding toys, and just look at the flower holding a toy gun. I mean, it's marvelously absurd and deeply poetic and unsettling on so many levels. How did that come together for you? But more importantly, I guess maybe a question is, what does it mean? I mean, I think what it's gonna mean for me, I'm gonna unpack over the next little while. But tell me about what it means for you.
He is my life, my everything. I lost it. I find it with Omar and another child. They are in a school in Sage, under the Sage. I have many students. They are everything. I lost it in my life, really. So I want to save them by any way. Up now, I dream to do that for them, to be maybe I don't know, maybe a rose on in their memory, in their bloodly memory. I want to be anything.
Well, for what it's worth, you've certainly, I think, done that with this film. And I mean, I'm not a film critic, but I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
You should not name.
Yes, there are no
Who
rules.
are you?
That's right, there are no rules. Thank you, Ossama. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Well, listen.
Omar is the development of the pixel. You know, the pixel became Omar, the soul of human being became
Yes.
this beautiful.
Yeah,
Omar.
yeah, it's just absolutely
Great
gorgeous. Yeah,
explanation, yeah.
yes, and just to end off, Simav is holding the camera now, filming the room,
Yeah.
and what a nice way to end. Thank you for joining us today on Face to Face. This was wonderful. I
you.
hope maybe we can
Thank you.
continue it down the
I
road.
was really very touched and very happy to talk with you.